Corner. Oh, now we're recording, Coach. Sorry about that, buddy. Welcome, everybody, to this edition and last week's edition all combined of Coach's Corner. Welcome aboard, everybody. Buckle up. We have got some kind of show tonight. Let me tell you, because we got to make up for 3 weeks. Welcome, Coach Colin, Chris Colin, here with us live and in person. How are you, Coach?
I'm good. I'm obviously missed a couple weeks. We had some Easter situations going on, and with COVID and everything, we've had just we're here now though. So let's get into it.
Well, it strikes again. Even Losey's locker room and Colin's Corner, cannot get away from the pandemic, Coach, and that's what happens. Well, I don't know if you were bumping around social media last night, so. Real quick, I told everyone that you were detained last night, and the messages I got from everybody was, is it the police? Is it Homeland Security? I don't know. I said, I can check with Liz.
But, she was detaining me.
Because I got all set up, and I had the latest shirt for the official shirt of Losey's locker room. That one that I got from ESPN. One of my listeners said, "What are you driving for NASCAR now?" was the comment. Cosgrove last night said, "It looks like wallpaper." Anyway, so I was ready to go, and you were.
Yeah, I'm on a weird schedule. I was waiting to go for our 9 o'clock start, and I fell asleep on the couch. I'm on a weird. I've been doing most of my paperwork, film watching, and everything from about 3:45 in the morning until about 7. So that's been kind of my weird COVID work schedule. So it kind of opens up my day, and I don't really turn on the computer or my email during the day, and I try to work with kids and things like that. So I'm trying to get all my stuff done at weird hours, which I don't know how that came that way. Typically we're a morning practice team, so I'm up early at 4:30 walking my dog and kind of getting ready for practice. So I think this has just been a weird, we've been practicing at 11, so I think this is my body going into the natural morning practice schedule without ever having morning practice. So sorry about that. I missed it. I didn't mean to.
No, it's all right.
Liz tried to wake me up and said I was not very nice to her when I don't remember any of it. And but we're here now. So
I know that Liz was fighting for the integrity of Colin's Corner, as I know she is a big fan. She did all she could, Coach. But just as a fill-in. So I was sitting here and I said, you know what, I'm here. We got to put some content out because I'm losing subscribers here with no content. So I sent out, like 4 invites and like 6 texts to random people. And I go on live and I start chit-chatting and talking to the folks out there. And sure enough, who pops in is Greg Durham from Orchard Lake St. Mary's, head coach. He pops in.
Paul's always entertaining when.
So we're chatting, and then 10 minutes later, who pops in? Mr. Paul Cosgrove, offensive coordinator for Brother Rice High School and Michigan Lacrosse Hall of Fame inductee.
Yeah, that had to be pretty exciting and probably more entertaining. I would like to be on that with those two. That would be pretty amazing. So maybe we'll have to do that where I jump on at some point.
Oh yeah, we'll get those boys in there, and then we'll have you. Have a guest appearance. I kind of like the randomness of it. I may do that again where I just don't know. It keeps everybody on their toes.
I like it. I do like it.
Yeah. And so, we could have 5 guys, we could have 4, we could have 2, we could have just me. I mean, I was prepared to talk the entire hour myself. I was crunching numbers. I was looking at Quinnipiac. And
if you've watched our broadcasts, I think, some people have said we should get somebody in the booth because that's traditionally what they like. I think nobody does a better job of talking to themselves than you.
Is it really talking to myself, or am I really talking to the audience and it just sounds like I'm talking to myself?
Well, you're talking to the audience, and I like it. I personally, in my opinion, think you should keep it solo for a while because I think it stays a little more entertaining that way.
Well, you'll find this interesting. My dad came over on Saturday night, and he comes over every other Saturday night or something, and the kids usually have something, so we'll just sit in the basement and we'll just flip around and he didn't really know that I was broadcasting, and it's not for a lack of fatherly caring. It was more so just
as a dude. He just kind of
You're right. He's up kayaking. I mean, the guy's 78 years old. He's still kayaking around Belle Isle every freaking morning. Anyway, so we get to talking about it, and he's like, "Well, I'd like to hear you." So I popped in. If you remember, Culver versus Hill back in 2018, that
Nice one.
at UDM with me and Kyle Jackson.
That was a good one.
I got to tell you, I didn't realize at the time, but Kyle was, a great player. Was playing in the MLL at that time. I don't know what he's doing now, but he had no idea some of the stuff I was throwing at him. I mean, the Rocky quotes, and it was like Fast and Furious. And it was so funny because I'd say something, I'd be like, just like Rocky 3, hey, Kyle, he'd be like, wait, what face-offs? What? It was very funny. All right. So let's jump right into it. We got 3 weeks to make up, and I don't know how much we want to go back and relive it. Last time, let's see, what do we miss? So we missed the Monmouth game.
We missed our Monmouth game, our Canisius game. I can tell you, both games were kind of interesting in the fact that one, everything seemed to roll right,
Canisius,
and the other one, everything seemed to roll wrong. So it was amazing where we might have not played that much different in either game, where some of the lucky bounces and things that happen in lacrosse with officiating and just the way the wind blows sometimes you can play almost the same way and have different outcomes. So luckily against Canisius, it seemed everything went right. We were really good with shooting. Jarzembowski had a great battle at the face-off that I think he did a pretty good job. We did a nice job of being aggressive on defense to really stifle what they were doing on offense. And, we were making extra passes were connecting, and then that was into goals that were finishing, right? So while all those same things against Monmouth were happening, we just weren't connecting at the same level. Really in the second half, we kind of were. We had probably one of the worst, and again, I'm not complaining about it. I'm formally complaining about it, but it's not the difference in the game. Probably one of the worst calls I've ever seen in the Division I game, where our goal by Bernie was taken back on an interference call that if you can go back and watch, there's nothing even close to it. But things like that were happening, and we weren't connecting on passes at the same level. And then when we connected on some passes, we couldn't finish at the same rate. So while we played a great game defensively in the second half, we started out with, letting them score 4 goals pretty easily, a couple man up goals pretty easily. And where our man up and man down hasn't been great all year, we're really focusing on that towards the MAC tournament and on Saturday. The bus ride and everything was perfect in Canisius. Everything went wrong, kind of, what we couldn't control everything. We had a much later start with some testing issues against Monmouth. So where everything went right one week, everything went wrong the next week. So we got to learn how to play better when some of the things go wrong. And so it was a tale of 2 weeks for sure.
Right. And that's really a microcosm in life. I mean, not to go off in that, yes, but it's adversity. You have no idea. I mean, that adversity is coming, right? We all have to deal with it. My saying, everyone is either going into a storm, in a storm, or leaving a storm.
Sure.
That's the way you have to focus things in life. And it seems like, you guys got, had some adversity going out to Manhattan, and that affected you. And you had some adversity going to Monmouth, and that affected you. And, you talk about a senior laden team, an experienced team, and, I don't want to say I'm disappointed, but, you would expect a team with your experience that have been around the block in lacrosse to handle these things a little bit better, wouldn't you?
Yeah. And I agree with that completely. Where we have a senior laden team, those pieces have done a pretty good job leading, but we're always learning, right? And where we do have some freshmen playing offense and some seniors playing in positions that they never played, and are really kind of, while they've gotten experience at the midfield, they haven't carried all the load at the midfield, right? And a defensive midfield group, that same kind of thing, where we've had those strong, consistent performances. Out of, let's say 6 or 7 out of 10 guys on the field, we haven't had everybody. And I think everybody's kind of still, this team especially, they've done a nice job of learning. And every team is different, John. It's like, you have a different personality, even when it's the same, Jarzembowski's been the faceoff guy for us for 4 years, but every year it kind of looks a little different, right? And he wins them a little different, and he does a great job adapting. So you got to always learn, in wins and losses, right? And especially losses. And I think this group has done a pretty good job of taking away, the Manhattan stuff. A Manhattan loss was definitely circumstances on the field more so. When the Monmouth game was a lot of circumstances off the field that kind of affected how well we could start out and kind of where our brains were. And again, we've talked about it, we've learned from it, and hopefully, in the MAC tournament, we're going to be on the road the whole time. Hopefully we've learned and we can apply those things at the right time. So I totally agree.
Yeah. Well, and in normal years, these losses would be, cataclysmic, right? I mean, with everyone making the tournament now, it's
yeah. And again, I think we're still in good shape with that. I think we could still be in a 3-way tie for second place, and still in the normal year we'll be fine. And the thing I think we all need to keep in perspective that probably that Manhattan loss would have been a game versus Notre Dame, and it would have been 18-7, and they would have scored. Notre Dame would have scored a lot in the second half, and everyone would have said, "Oh, it's Notre Dame, right?"
Right.
Or we could have had that Canisius game would have been a big, a Marquette victory that nobody was expecting, right? So, these are all circumstances where you have to learn, so then you can be consistent in the conference play, and that's typically how we've kind of ran things as a program when. This year, without any fall practice, without any real preseason practice at all, some of those things that you learn in the non-conference schedule, in the early schedule, those lessons, I don't care how experienced you are, you have to always relearn and retest yourself. And I think we're doing that, within our conference versus outside of our conference. So hopefully, and typically in the past, we've done that, we've been consistent, and we've gotten injured. Right. So hopefully we're just going to be consistent and not be have so many injuries where we're having the tough time at the end. So
right, that's great. I mean, everything you said there, I can promise you that when the parents and the fans out there, because I think this is what it is, right? I mean, it's fun and it's this, but it really does. The comments I get from parents and from people just not having it over the last couple of weeks, it really does make a difference, because to hear it from you and to kind of rear back the expectations, or the people are inherently they're going to jump and be like, oh, what's going on? This team should be better. I had such higher expectations. But to put it in the context like you just did, kind of pulls everyone back, because we're saying we're learning, and we would have learned this earlier in the season with those out of conference games and a normal schedule. It's condensed, and so it's coming on the fly. And the great news is that we got a game on Saturday at 11 o'clock, and then we got the tournament. So I think it's great to hear that from you. And
I think when the coaches came up with everybody making the tournament, nobody knew the Marist situation was going to be the Marist situation. That wasn't the intent. The intent was exactly as I said it. Everybody in the MAC, we're kind of imperfect teams, right? And we do the best we can with what we have, and everyone learned so much in that out of conference. We've had years where we've had great conference schedules and we never won a game outside of conference, but we learned so much. So, you're trying to have that expectation that you're going to be consistent. And that's what we're all used to, but, nothing is normal this year. So, I can tell you that the kids are learning and they're growing and they're getting better with every day and every experience, win or loss. So, one of the ways that we have to do it without, all the film time and multiple class times and kind of how we're stuck with some of the things that we do, we have to learn how do you say that? What's what's it when you learn while you're doing stuff? Experiential learning.
Right. Whistle while you work.
Yeah. So that's what we're doing.
No, that's good. I think, for me personally, it's more so the rooting, right? I mean, I'm invested, right? I'm invested as the voice of Titan lacrosse, and I want you guys to do well. I want the kids to do well, but you summed it up well, right? We get to play, we're playing. And
the fact that we've been lucky, we've only had one game canceled, and that wasn't our situation. that alone is a championship behavior, right? Like the fact that these kids have really sacrificed so much, when a lot of, look at COVID in Michigan right now, it's mostly college kids, right? The fact that these kids have been sacrificing every day to kind of for a greater purpose. I say that at the end of every game, whether we win or we lose, like the game is never over until the season is over. You got to handle yourself, handle yourself like a champion all the time. And when, you're going to have your parents and other people dragging you that don't have the same goals that you have, and it's nothing wrong with it, but maybe not the same expectation, and maybe might take some chances. And I'll tell you, one positive COVID test at this point that could be it for us, right? So,
Yeah.
the kids have been great. The coaches we've all done the best we can with the situation, and that weighs on everybody. So, this year is just so different, and I hope we never have another year like this ever again.
I agree. And we had the Marist cancellation, and that every game canceled. They haven't played.
Yeah, and the good news is they're playing today. So, right. I'm happy for those guys. They're an old rival, and I have a different opinion on, a lot of the Detroit people hate Marist, right? I don't hate Marist because Marist has always brought the best out of a Detroit team. So I have a lot of respect for what they do and how disciplined we have to be from the second we pull into Poughkeepsie till we pull out of Poughkeepsie, and how you have to handle yourself as a man going through that. They've brought so much excellence for Detroit over the years, and how great some of our best games we've ever played as a program have been against Marist. So to not feel for them and kind of the travesty that their administration and president have put them through. When we went there, they had done so many safety measures to an extreme, and those Marist kids, they just did such a great job with it. You could tell them how much stress they were going through, trying to do everything right. And, it's just a shame that, other kids on that campus couldn't do right by those kids. And eventually the bug caught them. But, I feel for them. I'm so happy they're playing, and I'm happy that, they're going to be a part of the tournament because they deserve it. They're a good group of kids. And God, I'd love another shot at them. I know everybody on our team all of our alumni, everybody loves that game. So hopefully we can get another shot at them before our time in the MAC is over.
Right. That was the game. If you remember, our first Colin's Corner was right after that game, and we talked, and I had that thing penciled. I was like, this is going to be something by the time.
It was a great game. I mean, the fourth that we were tied going into the fourth quarter, it was a great game, and Marist had a little jump on us. Again, we've jumped on them a few times, and I'll tell you, both teams played so hard, and there was a ton of respect, which sometimes there hasn't been over the years. But two teams just playing so hard. And, I think back to that game and every week when they haven't been able to play, it just kind of hurts a little bit I'm just feeling for those kids. Cause they try really hard and, now that there's a mutual respect, it's,
that's great.
They're playing tonight. So we're going to watch.
And right now you got a little scouting because you got Quinnipiac playing them and then coming right back in. So we got 11 o'clock start on Saturday, correct?
11 o'clock start. It's a early game. We've got a girls game after, which is going to be interesting. Going to be a great game, a great matchup. They've got a great offense. They've kind of last three games hit stride. I'll tell you, for any of the face-off people in the world or coaches that like watching face-offs, this is going to be, I think, and I'm not just saying this because I'm a Detroit coach or a MAC guy, but this is going to almost be a PLL level face-off battle. These are two technicians between Quinnipiac and Detroit. Jarvis is great and has a little more experience and's gone, but if you really want to watch face-offs and wing play, you're going to see some great strategy, and you're going to see some great athleticism, and it's going to be just something. If you're going to want to watch scores, all that stuff, fine, but the face-off is going to be just an amazing thing to watch.
That's good to know. The nuance, right? The subtleties that are that make up that whole process at the X, and that's great to know. I think that's something I'll definitely put something out about that. I'll dive in a little bit deeper as I do my research. And I'll definitely just talk about the broadcast because we're on we got the ESPN game. Aren't we only one? I mean, 11 o'clock.
Yeah, I think we'll be the only one on, so we're sure a lot of people will be listening to your sulky voice.
Coach, you know I love that. And a big day for me, Coach. I've got 2 games on Saturday. So I've got your game at 11, and then I'll be heading on over to Brother Rice High School for Brother Rice versus Forest Hills Central in that battle. Yeah. Talk about a bonanza of days, Coach.
Well, I can't, it's killing me that, the NCAA has taken off the shackles of coaches on June 1st. So I get to watch hopefully a few games in person after June 1st. Yeah. But until then, it's watching videos and highlights and broadcasts and things like that. It's been very difficult. I've been wanting to watch games and haven't been able to because of the rules.
Yeah, well, you'll get to see in Michigan. You'll get to see the quarters. Let's see the regional finals, the quarters, the semis, and the finals.
Yep. So that's something.
Right. We'll have to make it there ourselves, Coach, just like we used to do in the old days.
Oh yeah.
Quinnipiac, and then when will we know, or what's the?
Well, it's the Quinnipiac. It should be a great game. I think they've got a great offense. We've been playing well defensively, and it's a great matchup. I think you're going to see a pretty even game and you're going to see a lot of runs. So it'd be a fun game to watch, and that's all I'm going to give up on that of that game. The MAC tournament. The MAC tournament could be one of the weirdest scenarios. I have been pretty stressed out about it in terms of my job. We've got a scenario where the first round is going to be played at the highest seed. And of course, because we have to travel outside of region, they're making us travel to whoever. So even if we are the highest seed in the matchup, we have to go to the lower seed. So that'll be the first round. And the second round, the highest seed that remains will be hosting. And then and that's on a Wednesday. And then the following Saturday, the highest seed that remains will be hosting. So we'll have 3 different venues along the way, which is interesting because in MAC guidelines, you have to test at your home institution and then report your test from your home institution. So that could very well mean lots of bus time for us with a Friday game coming home, a Wednesday game coming home, and then busing out to a Saturday game, depending on the situation. So it's going to be a very tough road. We've had some when you talk about experience, we've had some guys that have learned how to ride the bus. We also still have a lot of guys learning to ride a bus. That's a specific skill set. But it's going to be a lot of travel for us in a short time, and we're looking. I guess we're looking forward to it and handling it to the best of our ability because we want to try to win one. So that's going to be COVID is not only annoying from a actual standpoint from what the protocols are doing, it's making a very difficult situation. So
that's you talk about adversity. The good news is, if there is a good news, is that you know what you're getting into, what you have to face. And so the kids can set their expectations of what they're going to have to go through. But
yeah, we'll worry about that after Quinnipiac. We gotta beat Quinnipiac, and we want to do that for pride and have a good game and win at home and win for the seniors. It's our senior day, and we've got 8 guys leaving, and it's going to be that's going to be a pretty emotional thing, and we'd sure like their last memory on Titan Field to be one of a victory. So that's what's important now, and then we'll worry about that other stuff later.
Yeah, no, I agree. You got to focus on the opponent that's in front of you, the next up on your schedule. And senior day going to be very emotional, I would expect, with everything they've been through. Yep. And the weather looks good because right now, as I look outside, it's snowing. Yes, April 20th in Michigan for all of our folks around the country joining us.
What's crazy is the last, and I'm a weird stat, is the last 4 times that Quinnipiac has come into town, it has snowed either on game day or they've come usually a little bit earlier in the year. It is either snowed on game day or the week of when it hasn't supposed to. So I think it's the Quinnipiac curse.
Oh, what it is. Curse or something. You know what? I'm going to go into my research and I'm going to find out a reason. I'm going to make some sort of correlation, Coach, that's going to explain that phenomenon.
I think it's the Quinnipiac poles being wrong all the time. That some kind of seismic snow machine
I'll figure it out.
follows them around.
I'll get to the bottom of it, Coach. You know,
Get some kind of weird political angle or something, because that seems to be what people like to talk about.
not me, Coach. I left that rabbit hole a long time ago. A rabbit hole. I mean, you could, if you watched Losey Locker Room last night, there was no political talk. I mean, we talked about the MHSA and things of that nature, but
I would love to have talked about the MHSA with those two.
well, I think we're going to do another.
I would have probably ramped them up on the.
I got people coming out of the woodwork. I've got former lacrosse players in the state of Michigan in different decades. Like I've got this group of guys that played in the 80s that we want to do the big 80s, right?
That'd be great. Yeah.
Do the 90s. They want to do the 2000s. And so I'm kind of putting together just to put some content out there. I mean, everything I'm doing, as you know, is just for fun, right? I'm trying to make it.
Pre-MHSAA, there was a lot of great stuff, and the 80s and 90s guys will tell you that. I think MHSAA, while every intent was good, intention is one thing, actual execution is another. So
let me ask you, it brings up an interesting point, because we talked about this last night, and my contention is that with the state of lacrosse in the state of Michigan, where, and I don't know if you and I didn't talk about this, but so many high schools out there dropping JV programs because they don't have the numbers.
Numbers are down this year.
I mean, right. I mean, that will take care of itself, right? The number.
Yeah. And again, it's tough because, a lot of people didn't know what they were going to be doing. A lot of schools, while they're going to school and they're in person, it's not really in person. Half the kids are online.
Yeah.
I think you got to give this year a mulligan with everything. So
yeah.
While we think numbers are down, I don't know if that's going to be a long-term trend. I still think lacrosse is going to trend as a major growth sport as it has been.
Look at all.
But I think with COVID, I mean, a lot of people had to make split-second decisions, and those people that maybe said, "Hey, I'm going to try this at the JV level," as that's how I got into it. That's how a lot of people get into it. Some of those guys pass because they're going online and they're rather play video games this year, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that because of just the circumstances of the year.
The question, I agree with you 100%. The question is, will they come back? Right. So they may have, they were leaning towards it, but the decision, because of the situation, they said no. Because lacrosse, I said this last night, lacrosse is a sport that if you don't grow up playing it and you just start it, you really got to play it for a while. You got to get into it.
I mean, I didn't start till my sophomore year of high school. And the second I started, I had to play year round all the time to catch up. So, and I enjoyed every minute of it. So it wasn't a work for me, but, for some people, if you don't have that, didn't catch the bug the same way I did, it can be a lot of work.
Right.
One of the things I'm going to do this summer, and I've never done this before in the summer, but I don't know if I'm going to do it at Orchard Lake or at U of D or at up at Wixom at Total Soccer. I'm going to do a beginner's clinic, and I don't know if it's going to work or not work, but just for the fact that exactly what you're saying with numbers down, I don't think it's a trend long term, but I think a lot of people made split seconds decisions to not do stuff. And as the summer gets better and as more of us are vaccinated and the world kind of opens up a little bit more, I want to be able to give some of the kids opportunities to maybe try the sport at a cost-effective level that maybe didn't go out for their high school JV or freshman team. So I'm going to do that just because as I've been watching and seeing what the numbers have looked like, I really truly believe that it's not a trend of people that walking away from lacrosse. It just had to do with COVID and school and everything like that. And if some kids get comfortable with it over the summer, maybe they'll come back.
Yeah. So an aberration, a blip based on the circumstances.
I'm hoping.
And, and I know Greg Durham at Orchard Lake St. Mary's would be all over that. He told us they do this mulch drive where they deliver mulch and raise money for the program. And they drive all over. He's got this whole thing. He did it at Northville. Now he's doing it at Orchard Lake.
And that originated at Birmingham City Hall.
Yeah, he did say that. He got that from Birmingham. He's
my mulch from City Hall. Sorry, it's my community school.
Right. So yeah, we'll see. I'm hopeful. I'll keep my fingers crossed. But that leads me back to where I was going with this is the MHSAA and some of their rules and that you said, had good intentions and were fine back then, would it?
The whole, I know we can talk about this till we're blue in the face, but the travel rule and not being able to play teams out of state is dumb. It's dumb. It's dumb. It's not, I hate using just that blunt of a word, but it's not well thought out. It has taken the growth of the game and our national, it's hurt kids. I mean, it probably helps the University of Detroit Mercy in recruiting. We get to see some kids that other people don't get to see, but just even a couple teams being able to go to Ohio or Canada or Pennsylvania, while some of the the Brother Rice programs and Catholic Central programs have played some high level teams. There's also some mid level teams, and let me tell you, some of the best memories some of these kids are going to have is staying in a hotel room with their friends and playing in a game, and you can do it. Trust me, I do it every week at U of D. You can do it in a very cost-effective way, and the game grows that way, and people get to see it in any kind of, the whole human race, right? How did we evolve as humans? We didn't stay in one tribe, right? We moved across continents and states and areas, and we intermingled, and that's how we became better. So I think lacrosse is just like that, right? So the fact that we have not been able to do that, we haven't evolved at the same rate as other states.
Yeah. You look at, how I follow high school lacrosse and also college. You look at Ohio, and I'm amazed at that just the depth of the quality of teams. I mean, you're going 7, 8, 9, 10 teams deep, and you flip it over to Michigan, and it's like, we don't know what we're going to get.
Ohio, again, talk about all the great, and then the teams with 5 or 6 great players or 3 great players, let alone those deep teams, right? Ohio's got a ton of them, and it's because they've been, they're allowed to do a lot more than we are. And again, I just look at it from an evolutionary standpoint. You don't change much if you keep doing the same thing over and over again. That's just what insane people do.
Right.
I would hope that would evolve and change, and I hope as people start to look at, I hope as when things open up again, it's a great opportunity for the powers that be to kind of look at that. And God knows I'd love to, I travel, to Nashville and to Kentucky and to a lot of places to look for kids that might want to come to Detroit. And boy, I'd love for a Detroit team to go to Kentucky, right?
Right.
Or, or a Kentucky team to come up and play a couple games up here. There's so much good lacrosse that's being played in just the Midwest, the St. Louis, Indiana. You can go to a lot of places, and it would be great to see those kind of home and home situations for the schools that want to do it. And if the schools, if there's other schools that can't afford to do it or don't want to do it, they're still going to benefit, because then that team that played that team from somewhere else is going to learn something, and then they're going to come back and play you, and everyone's going to get better.
No question. I'm a big fan of Kentucky, as you know, and there's a lot of good teams down there. It was interesting over the weekend, MICDS played a team from Kansas, the best team from Kansas that I had never heard of. And really, it doesn't click on the radar.
I was trying to get film of that game.
Yeah, I want to do the same thing. It was supposedly a phenomenal game.
Yeah, I know. I've been trying to get film of that game.
But you think about that, and you think about, how cool would that be? Like, I would love,
and I think those 2 teams, we talk about the mainline Baltimore teams. Those 2 teams could give a run for a lot of good teams, traditional powerhouse teams.
Yeah, it's never going to happen, right?
Right.
That's the whole thing where you hinder the game. You look at it like that, and you say, I would love to have, a Brother Rice or a Forest Hill Central go to Wisconsin and play Kettle Moraine, right? And you've got
100%.
St. Margaret's in Minnesota, right? You've got
a lot of good teams in Minnesota. There's a lot of good, and even if 2 teams, a team from Minnesota and a team from Brother Rice met in Chicago, right. There's so many good venues and things. That would be a great situation. And you could do Chicago, or you could, South Bend, Indiana. You can do it in a day, right? You don't have to have the cost be that much.
Coach,
we've gone and played Notre Dame, play them, put pizzas on the bus and go home. So if we can do it, I think anybody can do it.
Fort Wayne, Indiana has been my second home, coach. Indiana Tech, the home of the Warriors, where Brother Rice has played 2 games now. That's the middle point because of no overnights. You know, it's a 2.5-hour drive down, play, drive back.
Yeah. And again, I'm not trying to be a negative Nelly on any of it. I just think, there's times to always reevaluate and move forward. And, if we want the game to continue to grow, that's how we have to do it.
You got to always be available and open to change. One of the other things near and dear to my heart is the streaming, right? COVID has opened it up where everyone can stream. The state of Michigan, MHSA says you cannot open stream for any Michigan high school sport.
That's because they're trying to control the money on it, and that's pretty obvious. I've been watching. We get as college coaches, because no one knows that we can't go out and actually live scout, right? So a lot of the schools are sent. You get an email, hey, this is our game. Do you want to watch us from Texas and all over the place? It's a shame that that wasn't put together right. And it's a shame that they've locked it down the way they've locked it down. It's obviously a money issue, and those people. There's a reason they're lost their nonprofit status. They're into making a profit. So
we talked about this last night as it relates to film and how college. You guys share film with everybody. It's open here.
It's easy. It's open exchange.
Right, and the state
of film up right after your game, and everyone can. I mean, that's one of the great secret benefits of being a lacrosse coach. If you're a junkie like I am watching games,
right?
I spend a lot of time in the summer, downloading games to my iPad. When I'm on airplanes and cars and things like that, I can just sit there and watch, a lot of the games that, Big Ten game. I don't need the Big Ten network. I don't need any of that stuff because you got some great footage all the time. So it's been a lot. That's all one of my secret little benefits that I love about my job.
Right. And that we talked about it last night, that really the state of Michigan should have a huddle for everybody, right? You just go in, you play your game, you upload it, and everybody's got access to it instead of
I don't know why we don't do that.
I'm going to push it. I got a lot of things on my list. I got a lot of things. I got to be able to go through a coach and figure out how to present it. And, I got data. I got to get some data, right? Like, I'd like to know. I would love to put together a survey where all the coaches in the state of Michigan send in your numbers. How many numbers do you have? How many kids you got at the varsity level? How many you got at the JV level this year, right? And to track that so that we have a data point.
Well, most people, coaches are typically paranoid people. They like to hide their data, because they think everybody's out to get somebody, especially you Brother Rice supporters. You're always looking to get the one up on everybody. So
inside the locker room in Colin's Corner, I'm Switzerland, right?
I know. And my point is, I know where your intentions are, and your intentions are good. And I would hope that people would understand that sharing data and even sharing film is just the best thing we can do for each other. So it is nothing we're doing is rocket science.
Right.
What we do culturally with our team is probably the most important thing, and that's something you can't see on film or within if you have 5 JV kids or 100 JV kids, right? East Grand Rapids has always had the tiny JV, and Country Day has always had a tiny JV, and they've been pretty successful for a very long time. So I think sharing that kind of data is pretty safe.
Caring is sharing, Coach.
Yes, it is.
All right, what else should we hit, Coach? I know you're tired. I've had a long day as well.
Yeah, I think we've we kind of brushed through everything. It's our senior week. We're gonna have if you're lucky enough we're gonna have our senior speeches on Friday night, Zoomed, because we're gonna have the guys in a room, and we have a nice banquet that sometimes I know have you been to it yet? I know you've been invited. I don't know if you've usually had your kids have usually been playing during our banquet.
Right.
Usually we have a pretty nice banquet over at the what's that place over attached to the Moose Preserve? They've been our go-to.
Old Beach.
The what's that called? The Iroquois Club.
Iroquois Club, yes.
Yep. Iroquois Club. So we've usually had it at the Iroquois Club, and it's been a wonderful relationship with them over the years. But with COVID, we can't. So we're going to do kind of an abbreviated version and Zoom to all of our parents. And we were thinking about doing something outdoors, but with the uptick in cases, and really we didn't want to penalize some of our Canadian parents and parents from far away that can't get here. So we're just gonna have the guys in a room and our seniors talking and all their loved ones watching on Zoom. So that seems to be the
Good.
the 2020 2021 theme. So we're gonna do the same thing on Friday, and then hopefully have play really hard against a good Quinnipiac team. So
11 a.m. That's an early morning. That's going to be awesome. I'm excited.
yep.
We've been in a long time, so that's going to be great to get out. I'm going to break out, I think, the official Losie's locker room shirt.
Oh wow, yeah. Now, how is that going to happen? Your Losi locker room shirts? Are these going to be handouts, giveaways?
Well,
What's the situation? How can I get one?
hold on now. A lot of things going on. The shirt that you would see if you go to Losie's locker room from last night, it was the first one that we've done. That one's the ESPN shirt that I've already had an offer, Coach. I had a good friend of mine say, "Hey, listen, I don't want you to put that on the air. I want you to sign it. I'm going to frame it and put it in my basement." I said, "That is awesome."
Well, I think the ones that Stenson Miller are making, that's the one I probably might have you sign.
Now you just spoiled the surprise for everybody, but that's okay. I mean, they look great. I don't know if you've been following my less clicks scoreboard pick drive that I've got going on.
Yeah, that's great. I was thinking about that, and again, we can maybe talk about it off air. I wish he did that to Instagram. You know how you can post to all three at the same time?
Oh yeah.
I think you should post those scoreboards to all three kinds of social media, because I think that's a really cool service. It's honestly in a year where I haven't been able to get out to games, and it's I get an itch around 4:30, 5 o'clock to get in the car and go to a game, because that's typically what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
And it's just two springs of not doing it. I found myself sometimes getting in the car and driving around the block 2 times and driving home, because I just want to get out to watch a game. It's
Right.
crazy. And but those scoreboard picks have kind of helped me therapeutically to be like, oh, there's games going on and there's things going on in the world. While I've been kind of having to sit in my basement and watch things on a computer.
Yeah, everybody's going through something, and you just don't know. And I've tried to be very when I've been out and about, and I've had this attitude anyway. But you have no idea what's going on in their lives, right? If
Sure.
they veer over into your lane or something, laying on the horn. I mean, what's the point? I think we need to be better as people and in a society. But back to the scoreboard picks. It's been a blast. I mean, I don't.
It's a really cool little thing. It's subtly
simple.
It's subtle. It's subtle. It's simple, and it also shows that we got a bigger community out there. And I love you've kind of shown some non-traditional scoreboards and put little stories with them, and I just think it's pretty cool. And it's again, for me, it's a little therapeutic, because it's I like always going to a couple weird games that I wouldn't expect to see anything that but sometimes you do, where you go out and you see you go to some weird game somewhere that like a Grosse Ile game. I try to get down there. My wife's from Allen Park, so I try to get down to a downriver game every once in a while, and I'm hoping that we get more teams down that way at some point.
It's been fun, and I'm still working on the technology and the other piece, but I'm gonna go out and do a couple of games. I'm gonna try to do one up at Jenison High School. They've
Cool.
been a big fan and have invited me up to broadcast a game for them to stream.
Awesome. See, I would love to go to that game, but
yeah, and then you look at some of these scoreboards. You look at Monroe, down at Monroe, Coach, where you got St. Mary's Catholic Central down there, where they've got the flip scoreboard.
Coach Nicole and I went to a game there,
and
it seems like forever ago. I think it was 2 seasons ago. We went down to watch a game there together.
It's just been fun. I think it's resonated with people. It's allowed me to interact with people, and people are making an effort, right? I mean, it's interesting. It's just kind of fun, and parents, and this year has been so different for me for whatever. It's really, the streaming has opened things up too, but I've made it more of a priority to do some things and
right.
Doing it for the game and to help the sport. And
I think you kind of cut your teeth with the the Brother Rice community and your kids, and now that they're kind of getting older, it's I think you perfected it there. Well, you're still working on it, but you kind of cut your teeth, and now you've got a pretty good way of going about it now to bring it to a larger community is pretty cool.
It really is fun. And the interaction, I've gotten great feedback from even people out of state, the Ohio team, Springboro down there. And it's just been fun. It's fun. I'm going to keep
Yeah, man, we're all looking at ways to watch games.
something to keep you close to the game, to grow the game. And so as you announced it, we're going to have some Losey's locker room.
Oh, sorry. So I did ruin it. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. It's got to get out there somewhere. But Sean's got, he's got other things to work on.
We're gonna let him. That guy. I'm so proud of Stinson Miller. Those, they're such a big part of the community, and Sean really cares so much about all of his customers. And I mean, it's amazing. Him and his wife, just two people, and the amount of care that they put into their work. I mean, that guy gets up. I've been getting up early. He's been checking in with me about 6:30 because typically this time of year he does a lot to help us at U of D with some of our equipment issues and kind of stuff like that. He's been on our sideline for a long time, helping out, and he just hasn't been able to be because he's just got so much business, and with that comes all the headaches, and on top of it you've got all the COVID issues with shipping and things sitting in sitting at borders for a lot longer than they're supposed to, and of course people all want their stuff now and aren't exactly as compassionate as they should be with the fact that some of the stuff is out of people's control, and I think Sean at one point his screen printer had only 2 employees and they usually have like 12 or 13 because they were all down with COVID, right? So it's
tough.
While it's been great, I know he's working his tail off and he's trying to take care of everybody he can. It's when I think I've got a hard day ahead of me, I just you can call Sean if he actually answers because he's so busy.
Don't.
You know what I mean? But he's what a great service to the lacrosse community, and it's nice to see people doing well and still taking care of people the right way.
Yeah, I was with him, right? I mean, he and I, kind of cut our teeth together. I mean, he was a lacrosse guy. I wasn't. My kids got involved, and he and I got reunited from going to high school together. And I was always there. I'm like, listen, dude, you love it, right? You love it. And he would be the guy, in the youth leagues, stringing sticks for kids, and all the parents are out drinking and corral, having a good time, and he's sitting down in the lobby of a hotel with 9 sticks lined up next to him, stringing them and fixing them and doing whatever. And it was just a passion, and he's created something that's great. He's got brand recognition.
I think he needs to have a little, like one of those signs where you pull the thing and the number clicks up, right? I think he needs to keep doing that for
you can't
for the 100. I mean, I don't know. He'd be at probably like 250 sticks already this year.
Okay, this
More
is
than that.
Dude, this is an original. This is way back to Stinson.
That's way back.
Dude, this thing is like, it's like a tennis racket. Sean would be so upset right now if he
would be very.
But
let's put that away.
Yeah. T-shirts, I'm not, whenever he gets to them, but the folks out there, what I'd like to do is I'm going to make it a weekly situation where we're going to pick kind of the best one of the week, or maybe 2 a week. Maybe we'll do a Wednesday and a Sunday, and then I'll send out these really cool T-shirts. I can't wait to unveil them to everybody. I may unveil them anyway, because I think we're pretty much locked as where they're going to be, but I know we talked about maybe having the UDM logo. So it's going to be pretty cool. And it's just been fun. I had one guy today send a picture. It was just before he came on, and he was kind of up in the stands, and he's like, "It's blurry. I'm sorry." He was very apologetic. And hold on a second.
That's what makes it great.
Well, no, what I looked at it, and I was like, here was the thing, because I do these first, like it's the first one, and they don't even know what they're doing, and I just, me. But it was the first picture that we've had where the players were still on the field. So there's double zeros on the scoreboard, right? So you get the scoreboard, and the players were still on the field because the game just ended.
Yeah, it's a good one.
It was very cool. And I said in the tweet, I said, it reminds me of the astrologist, the astronomer who found Uranus, right? He found it by accident. So now I've named him. I said, from now on, you will be known as the astronomer. And so, right?
That's great.
It's fun. All right, buddy. Well, let's shut this down. I think we've probably gone longer, but again, you owe us 3 episodes. I mean, I got to go look at the contract because I think there's some clauses in there about missing.
Yeah, we'll do one next. We'll come right back and do a MAC tournament update maybe on Monday. What do you think?
We got to do summer. Maybe you might have to give us one from the road, Coach. Maybe like a 15er from the road.
Yeah, we could do that from the coach's van. That would be fine. I could do that. Or but I think we could do a quick one on maybe Sunday or Monday, kind of given. I think by Sunday we should kind of know some of the matchups, at least unofficially, and we can give some updates about matchups and things like that. I feel pretty comfortable doing that.
Yeah, let's make an effort when you start to get the info, maybe we can release some of that here before it gets out. If you get it ahead of time,
Yeah,
we always love an exclusive, Coach.
No problem.
All right, buddy. Hey, good luck Saturday. I will be there.
Bright and early.
I'm looking forward to it, Coach. All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us here in Losie's locker room. We want to say God bless, stay safe, and just keep plugging away, right? Adversity is going to hit us, and just take care. And don't forget those scoreboard picks out there at Lax Losie, scoreboard picks. Take care.